What's
What's up,
happening?
Graphics? How's it going?
I was wondering if I could ask you a question about evolution.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'd love to. Love it.
So the going proposition, right, is that macroevolution occurs through genetic mutations and natural selection, essentially.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have a hard time with the idea that genetic mutations can over time build complex biological systems. Do you have a way to kind of like explain how that doesn't violate, the laws of physics? Namely, how is it that our universe
Mhm.
is sliding towards complexity when it shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah, so this is like a common micro versus macro evolution is kind of like a common distinction that people make that is kind of a fallacy in and of itself. So there is no like think of it like how many steps does it take to get to a marathon? Like you're using a step the entire way, and there's no point at which like the steps change once you have completed a marathon. So the process, I can walk you through it, man, how like the nucleotide change actually creates speciation, which is what what you're talking about.
Well, you're talking about like the creation of mRNA and for the production of protein and stuff like that. I'm more of talking about like microevolution is adaptation within a set species due to the inherent flexibility in the genetic code. But macroevolution
that's adaptations. So you're getting caught up in
that's what microevolution is.
There is no such thing as microevolution. That's a misnomer.
Okay, so all these people talking about microevolution, I should tell them that doesn't exist.
Correct. Yeah, that's wrong. It's a micro versus macro evolution is a Christian apologetics talking point that doesn't make any. Isn't supported by science.
Okay. So the idea that a species adapts within a local population, what would you call that?
Adaptation.
Okay,
so you can actually that can actually happen towards like epigenetic markers. So basically, parts of the chromosome can be turned on or silenced based off of a lot of different factors, and things in the genome can be turned on or off. So, like for example, there's some toads that actually towards a certain temperature, they'll actually start to grow horns on the inside of their little arms, and it's triggered by a temperature reading because that's when it knows when the winter is coming. So then that's when they can actually use their arms to like mate. That's the idea. So or you can actually have heat shock proteins is another one. So you are exposed to a heat level that then your body or the body of this animal creates proteins in order to protect the oxidative stress of a higher temperature. So
yeah, I think we both agree that adaptations happen. There's flexibility in the genetic code. It happens. I'm talking about going from a creature with a respiratory system that gets oxygen from the water or whatever, going from that to evolving into an animal that has a different biological system, whatever that is. Would you agree that in order to get there, you have to either add, change, or delete genetic data?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And what you're saying is in order to get there, if it's the process of genetic mutations, they're not directed by any god, so they're essentially random.
It is. So the genetic mutations are random, but the genetic diversity in the population creates a pool that then is selected for through natural methods. So that's what the natural selection is. So that's the idea.
Well, I'm talking about it going. What you're essentially saying is that this mechanism of mutation was able to properly, without any guidance, construct some of the most complex biological systems. I mean, it's crazy how complex our cells are. You're saying you believe that can happen through genetic mutations and natural selection.
It did, and it happened over billions of years.
That's completely absurd, bro.
Okay, I mean, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean that you have to say that. We're talking about 2 billion years of evolution that happened for cells that can expand and replicate within a matter of hours.
Okay. So how many amino acids is the smallest protein?
What? I mean, so
smallest protein is an 11 amino acid protein. So how long do you suppose?
No, actually, you can have RNA that can actually create enzymatic activity. So
We're
you don't
talking
even
about a
need to be
protein, not
into a
RNA.
protein. I know, but you
We're
can
not
have
talking about
enzymatic
RNA.
activity with an RNA molecule.
Yes, you need enzymes and RNA with amino acids to create peptide chains and proteins. I'm saying that the smallest protein we know of is an 11 amino acid protein.
Okay.
The length of time it would take to sequence one of those proteins is astronomical. But you're saying you believe it can go from that to birds through mutations.
For over 2.7 billion years, yeah.
That's not even long enough to sequence a protein.
What do you sequence a protein? What are you talking about?
They've already, yeah, you can do it. You can do the math yourself. How long would it take to randomly sequence an 11 character code? It would take longer than the universe has existed.
Are you saying, no, that's not correct at all.
Yeah, okay. I've done it. I created a code at a JavaScript and HTML that attempts to randomly sequence codes in order. And you can get 1, 2, or 3 codes in order in a little bit of time. But once you get to 4 or 5, it takes forever. You'll be sitting there for millions of years.
Okay, so what evidence would you need to see in order to agree that evolution happened?
I would have to see something that some sort of localized decrease of entropy that caused complexity above and beyond what, I mean, I could understand localized decreases of entropy to where you have particles maybe forming, but then you have molecules and chemicals evolving. Why is this happening in a universe that should, by physics, be tending towards more disorder? Do
you know about nilinase?
No, what is that?
So nilinase is an enzyme that exists, that evolved in order to break down nylon. So bacteria evolved the ability to use nylon as a food source since the 1950s when nylon existed, and that never had existed before, because why would nilinase exist if there was no nylon? So literally there was proteins that have evolved since the 1950s. So they just, it's not correct, man.
Yeah, but that's perfectly fine. You can have adaptation.
You just said that, bro. You just said we just went from there. You can't have a single protein. You can't explain 16 amino acids. It would take more time than the existence of the universe to completely writing off the existence of nylonase.
You're talking about an organism that already exists being able to convert matter to energy. That's just an existing system. We're talking about
evolution
that
works.
system.
That's how evolution works. So as speciation works.
That is adaptation. That is not speciation.
No, yes it is. Yes it is. So
okay, where do we have evidence of speciation? And please don't use a mule. Where do we have evidence of that?
Where do we have evidence of speciation?
Yeah, where do we have species that are evolving into other species? Because the mutations are obviously very rapid. So where are these mutations to where we see speciation? Where do we see that happening?
So you see them all over the place. Like, for example, there's nematodes and stuff that will, like lizards, like in the cave, and they will like evolve in order to lose their eyes, because it becomes, when you're in a cave and you don't have any light, it creates like an open sore that you can have. I'm explaining it to you, bro. When you go into the cave, it creates an open socket that can be, from bacteria, or it can create a way for infection to happen. So what happens is those toads, or sorry, the lizards, evolve to not have any eyes anymore. So there's 2 species now. There's one with eyes and one without eyes, and they're genetically distinct. So therefore, that's a new species that's created.
That's not a new species. Do you know what makes something a different species?
I would love to hear what you say.
Well, you're supposed to be a biologist, so can you tell the chat what makes something a different species?
Well, the problem is you don't understand micro versus macro evolution. So I would assume that you're using the elementary thing of like, oh, you can't breed with one another. That's what I think.
Microevolution just means micro adaptation over time. And you said, no, I like adaptation, bro. Okay, listen, let me ask you this. Where do you said that?
What's the definition of species? I just asked you. What is it?
You're saying a lizard not having eyes is species. That's not. Yeah. Is that a different species now because it doesn't have eyes?
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So what makes it a different species? Just because it has different biological features? Can they have children? Can they still breed together? The ones with eyes and the ones without eyes?
That's what I was going to say. That's what I said that you would say.
Because that's what makes them the same. Are you serious? Are you defining things differently?
So you think, okay, so it's fine. That's what they teach in like high school biology, man. That's what I would think that you would say.
That's what they teach in. Are you saying you have your own science?
Okay, so what you're saying is that when two distinct species can't create another species, that's what you're saying.
When they can't breed together and create babies, then they're no longer considered the same species. That's one of the defining features of a species.
That's not correct.
That they can breed together.
That's not correct. You know why?
Oh, please, I would love to know.
I actually have evidence right now that I can show you right now.
I don't think you do. I would love to know where your credentials are from, because you sound like you have no idea what you're talking about, Greg.
Guess what? I can prove you wrong right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of species are you?
Are you kidding me right now?
Homo sapiens are a hybrid. You realize that, right? We're a hybrid of Denisovans, Neanderthals. So you yourself,
so you're assuming evolution to support
you yourself, bro, are an example to prove your own self wrong. So unless you are not a Homo sapien, I'm going to say that you yourself are actually an example of it. Can humans breed?
All the people in this room can look up what you're saying. You realize that,
yes,
right?
And Denisovan DNA and Neanderthal DNA exists inside the Homo sapien genome, and we can sequence it, and it's there.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that what you're saying. You just said that the lizard was a different species because it didn't have eyes.
So are you saying Neanderthals didn't exist?
If I post a video, Greg,
are you saying Neanderthals didn't exist, or are they humans? Are they big humans?
Because it doesn't have eyes. You know how many people are going to laugh at you,
why are you jumping around, dude? We're talking about Neanderthals and humans now. So are you saying that the Neanderthals weren't a different species?
Neanderthals, yeah, there's no Neanderthals, bro.
Okay, so you're doing the young Earth creationist thing that they never existed.
No, I'm doing that. You don't know anything about science, Greg.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
How
that's fine that you believe that. I don't
passed
care.
Down to the baby?
How? So you think that Neanderthals never existed? What kind of cell
passes down genetics to a baby?
Just so let's be sure. Like, you think that are the fossils fake and that we found?
Can we date fossils, Greg?
Yeah, by carbon dating. Yeah.
Oh, you can carbon date a fossil, Greg? Greg, you can't carbon date inorganic material, Greg. You can't carbon date a fossil. You should know that. Greg, what kind of scientist
are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? I'm talking about genomes. I'm talking about stuff. Like, I think that, like, honestly, the other stuff, I think you can carbon date the stuff that's around it and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't think so, you can't. You can carbon date
organic material that's around the fossil. So what is
the Denisovan and Neanderthal DNA that's within our genomes?
There's no Neanderthal DNA. What you guys have done, and based on what you've already said, it doesn't surprise me. What you guys have done is looked at these Neanderthals, right, which are probably just weird-looking humans, and decided, and you're laughing, but dude, you don't even know what basic terms are, Greg.
Okay,
you're presenting yourself as an academic, Dr. Greg Debates, and then you're saying you have a degree in microbiology, but you don't know anything about, you even said microevolution doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Because you like the word, bro, you're a joke, bro. Have a nice day, dude. You're a joke, dude.
All right.
I can't.
Okay, that's fine, dude. See ya, man. It's okay, guys. It's okay. We try, we try to talk to them, and, unfortunately, a lot of people can't stand in the kitchen. They can't stand the heat. But yeah, the idea that two species can't mate is a really elementary version of what a species is, and humans are a great example of that not being true. We basically mated with Denisovans, which are a farm of hominids that we found. I got you, Liana. Neanderthals are in our genome, and the biggest misconception that he had is that basically there's individuals don't evolve, populations evolve. So it's just a misconception. So there is no type of microevolution. There is no macroevolution. It's all evolution. And yep, that's just what it is.